When I look back on my life, I tend to think about how grateful I am for everything that has happened. I know I didn't have the perfect childhood, but the life that I was raised in is the life that made me who I am today. The tragedy that made me this way is not necessarily something I expect you to understand, but it is something I would like you to know. Even to this day, I don't understand it, but I'm no longer in denial it happened. I was always told that we are who raises us, our society defines us, and that we follow the path we already know. And for a while there, I actually started to believe it. Not knowing who really defines who we are, I started to believe that we had no self-control of the outcome of our lives. I believed I would be just like my father and accumulate his hardworking behavior, but I would also take on his bad attitude. I thought I would be just like my mother and grab a hold of her loving personality, but sadly account for her lack of responsibility. Growing up and maturing brought my mind out of the constant confusion and discomfort that I was so used to, but the prolonged devastation assisted me along the way. I believe in self-control, but even though we have this ability, it often takes some time to realize this. When I became 11 years old, I started to see in depth who my family really was. They weren't that sweet and loving family that our parents made it seem as we were. I was old enough to start putting all the puzzle pieces together, and I could now understand what was really going on. Everything slowly started to make sense. The fighting that was once an occasional outburst became an everyday war. The once loving family had been mentally altered. The mentality of prioritizing our family over everything had been changed because of an unnecessary want. Our living situations had changed countless times, and money became a big issue as well. But even worse, my brother, sister, and I were no longer a responsibility in our parents' eyes. We were easily replaced by alcohol. Over the next 4 years, I didn't only struggle with the thought of who I was going to become, but now I had 2 younger siblings to take care of, alcoholic parents to worry about, as well as an education to accomplish. I had to make sure the kids' homework along with my own was completed every night. I had to make sure dinner was being served, the kids were showered, and ready for bed. In the mornings, I had to get them up, fed, and ready with barely enough time to do the same for myself. All the while, my mom was in her room, sleeping, and my dad was anywhere but home. This was not my idea of the ideal life for a 12 or 13-year-old. April of 2010, a shocking announcement was made to our family. We never expected to hear that we would be missing a spot at our dinner table so soon, but that spring, we were told that our father's addiction was worse than we thought. Alcoholism had sadly caught up with him, and by this time, it was too late. During the next 7 months, my parents split up and got back together. My mom only let him come back because we didn't have long with him. The both of them continued to drink, argue, and destroy our family as well as ourselves. At the end of the 7 months, on November 16, 2010, I saw my dad for the last time. He passed away at 7:30 that morning from internal bleeding caused from his drinking. I had just lost the most important person in my life. Although he wasn't perfect and he made a lot of mistakes, he was my best friend. I went to him for everything. Now he was gone. I was severely depressed for a long time after that, threatening to leave and take the easy way out like my dad did, running away, and even retaliating against all adults in my life. I had soon realized, with the help of counseling, that wasn't me. That wasn't who I was, and it surely wasn't who my dad would have wanted me to become. With my mother still drinking, and my brother and sister still depending on me, I chose to change. This tragedy brought me to the realization that I will never become my parents. I will not throw my life away like they did and trade my happiness in for a bottle of booze. I will prove this theory wrong and do as I believe, because I believe in self-control. I believe we contain the ability to take charge of our lives and account for our own actions, because we are the only reason behind who we are, nobody else. I hadn't come to see just how fast a choice as simple as 1 beer after work could lead to a daily routine of a few before work and a 30-pack once you got home. I didn't realize how fast someone could let their whole world change from something so wonderful to something that horrible. But we control these outcomes and everything along the way. We control our actions, decisions, and our lives. This is our story. We are the only ones who can write it, so we need to use our self-control and make it our own. This, I believe.
I can't find the words to explain